Hello, welcome into the Starcastic Remarks studios. That's Chris. This is James. I'm Ryan, and we're not really doing any kind of real episode today. We're just kind of messing around, taking some mailbag questions today, and Chris is very, very involved in our Who Cares segment for today. So
lots of research.
It's a good.
what,
it's a good
like
subject.
a whole 3 minutes?
At least.
I resent that statement.
All right. Anyways, guys, we did just want to say Merry Christmas from our family to yours. We figured we'd go ahead and do this before our mom does her little Christmas party at 6. As you can see, James was very involved in the ambiance of our studio today. It's kind of hard to see, but I swear that is a fire on the TV.
Yule log.
It's a Yule log. And then we've got, all sorts of stuff right here. You got the little
Yoda
hat.
clock.
Yeah, is that a clock?
It's a clock.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was a clock.
yeah,
I thought it was
right.
just a
Yoda.
Lego
It's a
Yoda.
Yoda clock, an alarm clock.
And then even R2D2 here is getting a little festive for Christmas as well. So
I should push that.
anyways, guys, we're gonna answer some questions that we got from you guys on Twitter and also from some other places. And we'll get into those into just a second. But guys, if you were Jim Nill and Rick Bonus, what would you want your Christmas present to be for the Dallas Stars? What would and I gave them no time to plan for this whatsoever. So they had no idea I was pulling this up. So if you were Jim Nill and Rick Bonus, what would you want as a Christmas present for the Dallas Stars? Chris, you go first.
One of two things. We have the pessimistic answer and the optimistic answer.
Okay, we'll do pessimistic first. 'cause
First,
it's less fun.
pessimistic. We hope that Ben and Sagan's contracts disappear. That is the first Christmas present. The second, more optimistic one is that Ben and Sagan start playing better.
That was pretty quick.
So either way, yeah, those two. I mean, we saw last game; it started looking decent.
Yeah,
So
it did.
But who knows what'll happen after they haven't played hockey at all for a week? So who knows?
Yes, and by the way, that still is on. It hasn't changed. So it's still the 27th, starting Monday when they're supposed to start the season again. So there's a lot of pundits that are saying that it might not start then. There's a lot of people that are saying it's going to take longer. I hope that's not the case.
I'm thinking it's
really
going to start then because all the other sports leagues, they've already set the precedent of just going. Like the NFL is not even testing people who don't have symptoms anymore.
Right. If they're just
vaccinated.
right. Exactly.
The NBA is just saying season's not stopping. They're going to keep rolling.
I was thinking about that actually because I honestly thought, for the NBA it's a lot easier because they only have to have 5 players on the court, per thing. Hockey is a lot different. You have to have 4 times that, basically. And then again, it's different for football too because they have way more players that are available to play than hockey does. But so I really don't expect that the season's going to be anymore.
Because all the leagues follow the precedent. And you saw that March 2020. It was pretty much everyone was just waiting. They were like, well, who was going to be the first to stop the season?
Exactly, right.
And then once the NBA did it, then everyone just followed suit.
Yeah, pretty much. So I just hope it's not that way for that we're out for 5 months again. Because that was no fun whatsoever. Anyways, James, do you want to get into that?
Get into what?
Get into what?
Good Christmas present.
Good Christmas present
For
and
the
pessimistic
Stars?
present.
I have no clue.
You have no clue.
No clue. Chris kind of that. That's kind of everyone's dream right now. Is just Ben and Sagan just magically start doing better. But
Here's my Christmas present for the Stars. Is they win.
Wow.
There you go.
That's a very thoughtful
See,
present,
as simple
Ryan.
as that. Yeah. Yeah, Chris, you hear that?
What?
You hear that?
No.
I said that the Christmas present that bonus and Nil want is that they want the Stars to win.
Man, you thought about that one for a while, huh? That's impressive.
Oh yeah.
It's a good answer.
I know I'm perfect, right? That was
Thoughtful.
great. It took me a whole 2 seconds to think about that. It really
It's
did.
about how much time you gave us.
Hmm?
What?
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Anyways, guys, so let's go ahead and get into some of these questions because we actually had quite a few. I threw this up on Twitter, and then I had a couple of people actually, DM me with their questions because I guess they didn't want it to be put up on Twitter, I guess,
We'll
as a
keep those
post or whatever.
anonymous.
Yeah, whatever. But
Should we? I don't know if that matters.
so, and most of these are Dallas Stars related, but some of them are not. But let's go ahead and just start with this one. And I'm literally just going in random order in whatever order I got these in. So it's not like I have a specific order. This is from Gib Portwood on Twitter. It's at Q_SOLNS. That's a very
That's a
interesting.
catchy username.
I know. I don't know how to catch up with that. How good are the Stars in 3 years?
3 years.
In 3 years, not next year, not 2 years. In 3 years.
So this is at like the end of the Suiter's contract, is what you kind of think of when you think of in 3 years.
I didn't think that at all.
But it's a good. How much longer are Ben and Sagan on for? It's about
I don't know.
Ben's
Here.
3 years, I think.
Here, I'll look it up. Because
that matters. Sagan is 5, I think.
I feel like I should know this.
I think Sagan is 5
It's
more.
like the one thing that I probably should know.
Well, when people sign such long contracts, I'm just like,
You
okay,
just forget about it,
they're on
They're
the
here.
team.
well, I mean, speaking of long contracts, Ryan Suter, that contract he signed with Minnesota, you know how long that contract was for?
It's 12 years, wasn't it?
It's 12 or 13 years. It was something
And
stupid.
then they made that
insane
illegal.
like that. Yeah.
Now the
Yeah.
maximum is 8.
Sorry, I'm still looking it
You're
up. My
still
phone's
looking-
going slow.
Gosh, you take
Yep.
so long.
Well,
Okay.
go answer the question. I'll look it up while you're answering the question.
I'm much less optimistic about 3 years from now than I am for right now, because I think Pavelski's gone. I don't think you're going to have someone to fill the role that Pavelski had unless Gurianov steps up or one of the older guys starts playing better. Like Sagan might be playing well again by then, but excuse me. That's kind of when he's already on his decline in 3 years. Like these next 3 years is like the end of what we would call the prime, which sucks that he's had the injuries he's had. But with the big three playing the way that they are right now, I'm not encouraged that they'll be any better.
The mediocre 3.
Yeah, the mediocre. I like that. But I think we'll be bad. I think we're just gonna be waiting until those contracts end, and Rope will be good, Robertson will be good, Ottinger will be good, Haskin will be good, and that'll be kind of our team. We'll be kind of on the bubble for playoffs, but out of it for the most part. So not very optimistic. Hopefully there's more scoring and a different coach.
I definitely see a new coach coming in the future.
Oh yeah.
I definitely see that.
That
He-
for sure is coming.
He could fill out his contract, but there's no way it's further than 2 years, right? I don't think there's a chance.
Yeah. He's got this season and next season. Is that right?
I think technically that's his contract, but maybe
It's not 3 years.
no.
I know
I think
that
he
for
signed
sure.
a 2-year after the
Yeah.
bubble.
Yeah, he signed 2
So
years after
last
the
year counted as one of the
bubble. That
years.
Yeah.
counted as a year.
So this is his last year.
I think so.
I don't know what years
Yeah,
are
that's
right
it.
now.
Yeah, I know. This whole COVID thing.
Didn't we play a whole season in 1 year?
I don't know. I felt like it, but
No, we did.
We did.
We did.
It was called the 2021 season.
it didn't even start until January. Oh my goodness. Anyways,
bad.
bad. All that summed up into one thing: bad. So
Hopefully not.
I agree.
Bad. I think it'll be fun because we'll still have those young guys.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be dumpsters.
Mhm.
Like we're not going to do Arizona Coyotes things. I don't think. So that's encouraging. We don't have to watch terrible hockey. We'll still have something to watch.
What do you think? You're about the same.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I mean, what probably will happen the most is probably a lot less defensive hockey from what we've seen. Because generally, when you get a younger team or you start trying to rebuild, you get more of a faster team, kind of like how Ottawa has.
Blackhawks.
Yeah, Blackhawks have right now, and the
Detroit.
Red Wings too. Yeah,
Dude, they have there's an argument for them to have the top
Yeah.
3
it's
Calder
crazy.
Trophy
They're-
finalists.
That's hilarious.
They're
I've
insane
never
over
heard of
there.
that. It's obviously it's Lucas Raymond, who is the forward, Moritz Seider, who's the defenseman, and then Alex Nedeljkovic, who, even though he was a finalist last year for the Calder, somehow he still qualifies this year. So they could have all 3
Nedeljkovic is so good.
I know he really.
Not
I
fair.
still don't know how they got him from Carolina, but anyways, so I mean, a lot of questions popped into my head when y'all were talking about this, but I don't think we're gonna get worse. I think we're just gonna be a bubble team for the whole time.
Well, that's what I said. Low bubble team. So I guess that's where we are
So,
right now.
and-
We're not in the playoffs.
right,
so-
in and out, and that leads me to ask this question too. Is that the right way to do things if you want a Stanley Cup?
Well, right now, obviously, what we're doing is we're waiting. Well, currently, we're hoping that Ben and Sagan can actually be a part of this team because so far this season they really haven't been.
And nobody's gonna take their contract unless we take some money, retain some of it. If we did trade them, which I don't.
The
think
only
that's
way
gonna
Ben and
happen.
Sagan, the only way their contracts are gone is if we buy them out. So we don't even need to think about Ben and Sagan being gone. We need to think about lasting their contracts through, probably, because I don't think buying them out is a great decision either. But right now we're hoping that they can actually play. But in 3 years, it's just gonna be just grinding it out because they're not good. They're definitely not going to be any good by then, and we shouldn't be expecting them to be good because they'll be older. Sagan could still be producing and should be, but Ben is older than him, and he would be well in the decline by then.
Well, and I mean, Ben is if we ask him to be a third line center, I think that's perfect for him right now.
But we're playing $9.5 million for
That's
a
the
third line
problem,
center,
right? Exactly. But if you have some of these young guys step in, like we've had, Robertson doesn't even make $1 million.
But we could be good, but it would be in spite of them.
Right.
It'd be in spite of two $9 million
right,
contracts.
right,
So
exactly.
and that's not likely. So we shouldn't expect that.
So I mean, you talked about that you don't want to watch bad hockey and everything. You don't want to watch the Stars lose every game. But when you look at all these championship teams, the teams that have won multiple cups, multiple years, they've had long droughts of really bad times for their franchise, right? Okay, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was not very good for a long period of time between their cup in 2004 and then the 2 cups they've had recently.
Mhm.
When you look at Chicago, before they had the Kane, Taves, Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, Corey Cross, I can name all of those guys off because of how good that team was. They won 3 cups in 6 years or something like that. The reason why they were able to do that is because they had terrible hockey. They sucked. They got high draft picks, and then they were able to grab those players, and they became their franchise cornerstones. We don't really, I mean, as much as I love Rope Hintz and Jason Robertson and, Jake Ottinger and, those 3 guys, Miro Heiskanen is the only one that I see that has quote unquote superstar quality.
Disagree, 100%.
Okay, so Miro's the only one I see. Who would you put in that category?
Rope, Robertson, and Ottinger can all be superstars in the league.
Really?
Easily, yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you've seen,
Yeah.
Robertson didn't play in the beginning of the season. No one remembers that.
Yeah.
And he is leading the team in, is it goals?
It's not goals. I think it's.
Is it points?
I think
Assists?
It's
He's
not
leading the team in
points.
some
It's-
points.
he-
He's top
Pavelski is
3 in
points.
everything
I think
else.
Pavelski's
He's like top 3 in assists and points.
And he's played 10 games, was
he didn't
it?
play 10 games.
The first 10 games.
He's
6, I think.
averaging a
It's
point a
6
game
games.
right
Yeah,
now.
he's a point per game player.
Actually
right
a
now.
little over.
And it's quiet. Like he's not doing flashy stuff. He's just playing.
Well, that's who he is. He's not the Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah.
He's not the one that's going to dangle and make crazy plays like Trevor Zegras either. He's in the right spot at the right time, puts the buck away, or he makes a really good pass or whatever. So, but I still just don't see. I mean, do you see a Jonathan Taves and a Patrick Kane? And can you compare those 2 players to our top 2 players right now, which would be the Rope
Those 2
Hintz
guys are
and
doing
the Jason
everything.
Robertson?
Those 2 guys with Pavelski are doing all of the scoring.
They're the only reason why we even were in the running for the playoff
Yeah.
spot at the beginning of the season because we had those guys.
They said it's like 42% of our goals are from those 3 players.
It's 42% of the points.
Points. Yeah. So they're definitely carrying us, and I think they're good enough to be superstars, especially if the system changes, and it becomes more offensive. Who knows what they could do?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if those 3 guys work really well in Bonus's system, but then they don't work well in, let's say,
If you can produce offense in a system like this, you're going to produce offense in a more offensive system.
yeah, you think?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you could not. I mean, you would at least do the same.
Okay, all right. Well, I can get behind that logic. I still don't agree with it, but I can understand it. Okay, so I looked up the contracts. So Ben's contract runs out in 25-26. So that's another 4 years, including this year. And then Sagan is all the way to 27-28. And he's at $9.85 million. So that's $19.5 million, basically. That's being spent on those two guys. And that's 24% of the cap. So basically a quarter of the cap are going to those two players, and they're basically doing nothing.
Third line player.
Yes. And I mean, and
man, that's longer than I thought. Maybe a buyout is an option. Because if they keep putting up the points that they do now for the next 2 years,
well,
like 2 years straight,
the only problem with
that's
that,
really a buyout option there.
So let's say you buy out Tyler Sagan's contract.
If you buy out Tyler Sagan,
now,
you buy out Jamie Benn.
Well, if you buy out Tyler Sagan's contract right now, that means that for the next 12 years, you would be paying a player who's not even on your team.
You wouldn't be paying him 9.5 though.
You would be paying him at least 4.5 plus more. There's a certain way that
but
it
if you
works.
do both of those,
works,
you at least give yourself room to sign another.
It's still
$1 $9 million player that's actually producing points.
Yeah, but the thing is you can that just like cripples your team though. I mean, and if you really need a player like that, then just throw him. I don't know, throw him on waivers or something. Let someone else take him. And then he's not on.
They have no movement clause. You can't put him on waivers.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Never mind.
Yeah, that's why. That's
the whole problem.
You live by the no movement. You die by the no movement. He's gotten a lot of players by using that clause, but man, he's handicapped himself.
Yeah, and those guys that have no movement clauses: Esa Lindell, Ryan Suter, Roddick Foxa, Radulov. He'll be gone this next year, anyways. Pavelski, he'll probably be gone. Maybe I would say it's more likely we keep him just based off of the last 2 years, and then obviously Jamie Benn, Tyler Sagan have no movement clauses. So, anyways, that was one of the questions we had, but we got several more. So let's get to some other ones we got here. So this is from Lane 51 at Nathan_Lane 51. He says, "Which player do you wish was a part of the Stars team?" So I'm assuming
who's not on the Stars
now, maybe past or present.
No, let's do present.
You just want to do present? Okay.
Let's do present.
So let's just say current players in the NHL right now that you wish was a Dallas Star.
And let's make it creative. Okay. We all know we would say McDavid and Matthews. Don't pick those guys.
Right.
Find a better reason.
Vasilevsky.
It's gonna take me a little bit.
Okay. Ryan, go ahead.
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I kind of already told y'all mine, but one of my favorite players who is not in a Dallas Stars jersey right now is actually a member of the Calgary Flames, and he's having a monster season for them. And no, I'm not talking about Blake Coleman. Sorry, Stars fans. But I'm actually talking about Andrew Mangiapane. I love the dude. He's so much fun to watch. He's so much fun to just watch him make creative plays. He's not as super creative as, the McDavids of the world, the Leon Draisaitl's and stuff like that. But the other thing is that he's on the smaller end, and he's creative with the puck, and he reminds me a lot of Antoine Roussel and Alexander Radulov, and that he gives 100% an effort on every single shift. You never see him not working hard. So that's one guy that I would love to see on the Dallas Stars. And it's I know this is silly, but it seems like each time that I go and play franchise mode on any of the NHL EA Sports games, I always have to trade for him. He's just like one of those players that I have to have him on my team because he's one of my favorite players. So that's my answer.
I'm gonna say either Seth Jones or Blake Coleman.
Just because of Texas?
I want a Texas guy to play here. I mean, we have a couple in the league now, and that's awesome. We just need to bring one, and he'll just be the ambassador for hockey all throughout Texas. He'll be beloved. We'll give him a 13-year contract, and we'll never go wrong.
You can't give him a 13-year contract anymore.
We can dream, Ryan.
I just think it would be awesome.
An 8 plus 5-year contract.
Yeah.
Just rated that way.
Didn't say anything about that. But yeah, I think that'd be so cool to have a Texas guy, and those guys are both great. I mean, Seth Jones is having a bad start, but he's still a
half
good
and
defenseman.
Half. He's doing really well offensively, but the defensive side of his game is struggling this season. Yes, that is true. Yeah, you think of somebody?
Honestly, no, but
Can you think of anybody in the past?
I can think of a player that I like watching, kind of.
Okay, that's fine. Go for it.
So Adam Fox. From
Oh,
the
that's a good one.
Rangers. I
That's
love
kind of
watching
McDavid
him.
level, though. I mean,
Not
Not
really.
really. He I know
did
he's
good
the
last
Norris
season,
winner. I
but-
know he's the Norris winner and everything, but not many people talk about him compared to like, oh, Kill McCord.
but I know what you're
all
talking
over
about.
the job.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
that dude is smooth.
Like
Like,
Yeah.
every time
buttery
we play against the
biscuits.
Rangers, I'm always looking for him on the ice.
Yeah,
I
dude,
can't help but see him.
dude,
Yeah.
that new,
He's just
you know,
a buttery biscuit.
speaking of like teams that could do like quote unquote did a rebuild or whatever, that New York Rangers team, they sent out that letter to their fan base and said, okay, we're going to tear everything down. And that's like how, we got Matt Zuccarello and had that playoff run or whatever. I still wish we had kept Matt Zuccarello. He's one of my favorite players.
Too much
Anyways,
money.
Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, I think he signed for like $6 million for 4 years, and we would have given him the money, but not the term. I think
No.
is the deal. Anyways, regardless of that, but like
But
the
we got
Rangers,
Suter,
I mean, the Rangers went out
Great
and
trade.
I mean, they've got like,
Kappa.
they've got Capo Caco now, they've got Lafreniere, they've got Adam Fox, they've got Shesterkin and Georgiev. Both of those guys are still in their like mid to late 20s, so they're still going to be around for a long time. That's a scary team to watch. That's something I would like to see the Stars do if we don't make the playoffs this season.
I don't know how I could do this if we were bad. Every game.
If we were going to get
Every
a
game.
Shane Wright or like the first overall pick, he's projected to be the first overall pick, or Connor Bedard. He's coming up in the next couple of
I
years.
don't know, man.
Connor Bedard apparently is supposed to be like the next Sidney Crosby /
A whole
Alex Ovechkin.
just like I can't imagine being a Coyotes fan. You start the season and you're like, well, this is gonna suck. Well, I guess I'm a Texas Rangers fan, so I guess I do know what it's like. Well, I didn't watch the Texas Rangers last year, so
Hey, they went out and spent $1 billion, and then they're not even going to have their season. It looks like. So, I think they signed like what 5 players or something like
They
that.
signed a lot.
Yeah, they spent $1 billion.
Baseball's weird. I don't.
I
get
know.
it.
I don't get the
I don't
salary
get
cap
it.
of
Somebody
baseball.
explain.
But yeah, James is pointing. And don't ask me to explain baseball. I don't get it.
Sick love.
Yeah, but anyways, all right. So those are the players that we would have. So mine was Andrew Mangiapane, Calgary. You said
Seth Jones,
Seth
Blake
Jones,
Coleman.
or Blake Coleman, just because of Texas. And then you said Adam Fox. Adam Fox is a good choice. I would have picked
Cheater
him
pick,
too.
but, whatever.
Cheater
It's
pick.
fine.
I don't know that many people in the league, so what do you want me to say?
I mean, Adam Fox is kind of underground, and he only won the Norris.
All right, so this is a non-hockey question. What is your favorite bowl game and why?
Bro, I don't
Favorite
watch football.
bowl game?
Are we talking
College
like
football.
like favorite like bowl game like year after year, or favorite matchup this year?
Why don't we do both? Let's say both.
Bro, I don't know
so
any
you
of
so,
this.
so you could say James is like, screw this, I don't know this.
Whenever I watch
Shut
football,
up,
the
James.
team that I cheer for loses.
Stop watching Aggie games.
Yeah, there's a reason why y'all lost to Arkansas.
You're uninvited from everything.
and then you go and turn around and beat Alabama. And then who else did you lose
I
to?
didn't watch
Ole
that
Miss?
game.
Ole Miss and LSU.
Oh,
Well,
and LSU.
I kind of watched
Oh
the
my
LSU
gosh.
game, so I'm
And
sorry
then we
about
lost
that
to
one too.
COVID. I mean,
COVID.
A&M's not going no Gator Bowls. No Gator Bowls. Oh yeah, my favorite bowl, and I am officially biased with this choice. It's the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
And if you know A&M football, you know why I picked that.
Yep.
Because they won the Orange Bowl 2 years ago.
I do not know what you were talking about.
They won the Orange Bowl and they did the good. And
Okay.
yeah,
So what's your favorite college football matchup then?
matchup this year. I'm gonna have to look at that. You gotta give
Okay.
your bowl
All right.
game
Well,
real
I'll
quick.
give my favorite bowl game. I don't know why I remember this so well, but I do. And it's my favorite bowl to watch is actually the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Right? I know that seems it seems
That's
funny.
That's
I know it's funny, but there was one game long time ago. I think it was 2008 or 2009. Someone can help me later on and
I know what
DM
you're
me and let
talking
me
about.
know.
Statue of Liberty play.
But is it the Boise State game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Boise State game that I love. I still go back and watch that game on YouTube sometimes. And it was just so much fun to watch. I've never had that much fun watching football before. And the Statue of Liberty play at the end, I was just like, that was absolutely fantastic. And I mean it wasn't even like it was like two amazingly ranked teams. They were just, they were well balanced between the two. It was a good, hard fought game on both sides of the ball, on the offensive side and the defensive side. And ever since that game, I've been kind of inclined to watch the Fiesta Bowl. Now, it's not every year, but if I see it on, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll click on it and I'll watch it. And most of the time, I'll finish watching the game. So mine is the Fiesta Bowl.
All right, I got kind of a cheater pick again.
Okay.
It's one of the playoff games, but it's for a good reason. Okay, it's Alabama versus Cincinnati. It's the Cotton Bowl this year, but it's because Cincinnati is non-Power 5, and they deserve the number 4 rank. They scrapped and clawed for it. The CFP put everything against them to not get in, and they
got in anyways.
They stayed undefeated. They won all their games. A lot of other teams lost, so fine. So Cincinnati's in. And I am very interested to see if they're actually good or if non-Power 5 is actually that bad.
Yep.
Because they beat Notre Dame in the beginning of the year, who was very high ranked.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame was way overranked.
So was A&M.
No, they weren't. Oh no, yes, no, yeah, they were.
Yeah, they definitely were.
They were fifth.
Yeah, they were fifth.
They were fifth to
overranked.
start the year.
Yeah, we should have like low teens maybe is where we should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's
very
like,
interesting.
next topic. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Number 1 in recruiting. Ha! Suck it.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
But I'll be very interested to see if Cincinnati's actually good. I don't think they are. I think Bama's going to wipe the floor with them.
Really?
But I think Georgia's going to win it all.
That's an interesting hot take. So you think it'll be all SEC in the national championship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alabama and Georgia are head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see how it
Georgia
goes.
Michigan game will be close, but Georgia's going to win.
Michigan really interests me. It really does, because
They are so
they just
hot
came
and
out of.
cold.
I know exactly. No, that's exactly what I was thinking. They just seem to be like they can't make up their mind if they want to be good or not. And I don't know, but
Both Michigan teams.
yeah.
They're idiots.
Why are y'all looking at me? I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess we're just.
Michigan.
That's a state.
Can
right?
Yes, sir, it is. That's a good one.
It's a good thing that you know about hockey, James.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you don't host a college football podcast.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Brandon, this is a good point. Brandon Perkins here on YouTube. Army Navy game is always good. Go Army.
good.
That's always a good game to watch.
I always watch that game.
It always is a good game to watch. And
does Army still do the thing where they never pass?
Probably.
I thought that was Navy. I thought Navy.
One of them.
One of them does.
One of them did
runs
pass.
the ball
I'm pretty
like
sure it was
95% of the time.
Pretty sure it was Army.
Yeah. Well, either way,
It's
that is
cool.
correct. That is a good game to watch. I love watching that game. For me, if you're like thinking a specific, matchup to watch, either it's Michigan and Ohio State, or it's Alabama and Auburn. So the Iron Bowl. So one of those two matchups. I love watching those matchups. So, anyways, yeah, good question. Good question. Who was that question from again? I forgot.
You're the question. man.
Davis.
I don't
Davis
have my phone
Dunkelberg.
now.
Davis Dunkelberg on Twitter. That was a
Thanks,
good question.
Dunkelberg.
Okay. Here's another question from Gib Portwood. When will DFW actually get to watch Stars games on TV?
Answer never.
And I think that's in reference to the fact that you cannot find Valley Sports Southwest anywhere.
I mean, I watch them. You just gotta know, guy.
What's your guy?
The guy upstairs.
internet?
I'm not saying that.
It's the man upstairs.
All I can say is yo ho.
Yo ho,
Well,
ho, a pirate's
it's
life
life
for
for
me.
Well, in all reality, though, what is it going to take to get that fixed?
It's gonna,
It's gonna take Sinclair going bankrupt.
You really think so?
that, or they start direct streaming it.
Which there are. I mean, we've heard things about them, releasing a streaming service just for Bally Sports, and I mean, I've heard things upwards of $15 to $25 a month. Is that something that you would pay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like any of us really. I mean, especially our generation now. Well, I shouldn't say our generation.
Yeah.
My generation and your generation, because I'm a lot older than y'all. Nobody does satellite TV anymore. Like I've never had a satellite TV contract in my life. No direct TV or anything like that. It's always
18.
been streaming. I mean, we've got Disney, Netflix. What else do we have?
ESPN
Amazon Prime,
Plus.
ESPN Plus. Yeah, we've got
Hulu.
Hulu.
Max.
HBO
No.
Max. Yeah.
No, James.
So
No.
Only you.
but that is one thing that is one thing that we all have, and we all kind of share each other's accounts or whatever. But I mean, that would be something I'd be willing to pay $15-$25 a month for that. So it's unfortunate that they can't figure that out, because they really should figure that out for all the Stars fans. But this one is well, let's do this one. Okay. So this is actually was a group chat message that I got from somebody. So here's a question, Chris. This is from Seth, one time person who came on the podcast. And what are y'all doing?
What?
Don't worry about it, bro. So what's the question?
What's the question? Why'd you stop?
Why are the Stars so inconsistent, and why do they play so differently on the road than they do at home?
Well, the road and at home thing I think is pretty obvious. So when you're the home team, you get the last change. So that means you get to react to whatever guys they put out on the ice, like on faceoffs and stuff. So when we're on the road, we have when we have one line that can score, like we said, 42%, then they're going to put their best checking line against us, and they're not going to be able to score. But when we're at home, we can actually put them against the matchup that we want, and then we can find ways to score. So I think that's the answer to the home and road thing. And I think that is our biggest inconsistency. Because if you look at our record at home, it's very good. We are one of the best teams in the league. And if you look at our record on the road, we are almost worse than the Coyotes.
500. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that we only have one line that can score. And when you're on the road, that is painful.
So, and Matt DeFrank's actually put an article out about Tyler Seguin, because everyone's been talking about that lately, trying to get him going. Is that line of Seguin, Ben, and Garyanov could be the answer for the Stars' depth scoring, and that's not something that we've seen. We haven't seen that from put those three guys together. We haven't seen that line very much, other than the very last game before the shutdown, and they did okay. I thought it was a decent second line. Now, and since we don't have to ask Ben and Seguin to be the first line, because we have Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski, that allows them to take a little bit of pressure off of them, and maybe that will help Seguin score. And by the way, that Seguin goal, we already talked about it last episode, but that could get him going. It really could.
That was a good shot.
Yeah, and having Gurionov on that line rather than Radulov, I think makes all the difference too. Because, I mean, Gurionov is going to fly up the wing. He's going to be skating all over the ice, whereas Radulov doesn't. He's not a skater. He's get in the right spot and take a good shot.
Right.
So when you have someone that quick with the other two guys who are very smart, hopefully that is the combination that they need to actually get their feet going and get them shooting. And we saw lots of shots from them last game. So we need to keep that going, of course.
Anything else to add to that, James?
Oh, that
really
sounds good.
I mean, I don't really know what else to.
agree.
I guess that really is the answer. It's just the fact that they get the line changes they want when they're at home.
Yep.
I mean, I really can't think of anything else.
That's the biggest, because the records are like it's.
Well, it's either that, or us as a crowd, the fans that show up for the American Airlines Center is a big difference. But I mean, that might be a part of it. But I think you're right in the fact that you get the change you want.
In the last playoffs, we had the full buildings finally. That was like the first time we had full buildings was during the playoffs and stuff. And teams were winning road games left and right. So, and that's when the crowds are at the rowdiest. The crowd does not help as much as people think it does. The line change, I think, is super important, especially for a team like Dallas. But I think if we can figure out that depth scoring, that'll help our road record at least get to something respectable,
and then
our home record can stay that good.
Well, I mean, and all we have to do is if we're as good as we are at home, all we have to do is just be 500 on the road. I mean, it's not like we're asking to go 13-3 on the road. If you can just get it to 500 and just win one, lose one, maybe a little bit more than that, then I mean, you're easy in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Easily in the playoffs.
You're probably second seed in the division.
If we keep the home record the same.
Yeah.
So let's just keep that the same. But if we if we can find some way to stay 500 for the rest of the season, that would help a ton.
Yeah, and I think the answer is the depth scoring. So
yeah, okay. All right, let's get into some of this other stuff. Let's see what we got. This one. Yeah, let's do this one. I'm just gonna feel the haters. This is from
hot.
What?
Hot as an attractive.
Yes, apparently.
Okay.
Personally, I love Jamie Benn as a captain, and I don't think there is a better one in the league. I would disagree with that second part, but the first part, I think I love Jamie Benn as a captain too. When the inevitable happens and Jamie Benn is no longer captain, who on this roster can take his place if we even have said captain on this roster, and why? So is the next captain of the Dallas Stars currently on this roster, or is it someone that we can expect in the future?
Well, first of all, like we've already discussed, 4 more years. So
We're fine.
At least that.
It's going to take a while.
Beyond that,
I don't think it's going to be like a Mike Modano situation where they take the C away from him and give it to Brendan Morrow. I don't see that happening.
Well, that's a whole different situation.
Right, that was
We
a
don't have
different
to talk about
situation.
But I think, especially in today's league, the captain role isn't as much. It doesn't need to be an enforcer guy. It doesn't need to be somebody that has to fight. So you could do Rope Hintz, Amiro Heiskanen, anybody like
lots
that.
of teams like
Yeah, but
don't
who,
even
if
have
you-
captains anymore.
Yeah, there's lots of teams that are just going full alternates, and it's just there's not one guy. It's
Well, at least for a period of time they'll do that, but they'll normally name a captain. Like I mean, like
well, you'll have
Vegas
road and away
didn't.
captains too. Like
Vegas didn't even name a captain until I think either this season or the season before, and they've been around for 5 years now. So for the first 2 or 3 years, they didn't name a captain, and then you turn around and you look at Seattle, and they named Mark Giordano the captain right off the bat. So I don't know, but I mean, you have to pick one person who's the next captain.
Heiskanen.
That's what I would.
I would say Heiskanen because he's just so solid defensively, and then he has the offensive direction too, and just from watching him, he seems to be kind of a even keel kind of guy, and when he gets mad, people will notice. So he's one of those. He's going to be one of the quiet guys who kind of stays down, but when something needs to be said and he says it, it's something that you really think about it and you take it to heart.
Mm-hmm. So okay,
it'll be a different leader definitely than what Jamie is. Jamie is. He makes his presence known in games.
More of example than words,
Mm-hmm.
more than anything. He doesn't really talk much, but
and Miro Heiskanen's not gonna throw fists or take a fight whenever something needs to happen, but he will definitely put points. He'll dangle into the zone, and I think he could be very eloquent with his words as well and speak when something needs to be said, stuff like that.
Could you make an argument for, maybe Rope Hintz or Jason Robertson for being the next captain?
Absolutely. They're both.
I'm not sure. I think it's too early on Robertson.
Yeah.
I think it's way too early. But Hintz, you could. And I don't necessarily think it has to be the offensive side of the game that has to get even better for Rope Hintz to be that. But I don't know. We just need to see a little bit more from Hintz.
It's the opposite in personality. So I pick Heiskanen because he's more of an even keel guy. Rope Hintz is going to be the opposite. He's going to be the guy that's going to get super high and super low.
Right.
So if you want to push emotion and have a very emotional team, then I think Rope Hintz is the guy you'd go for. But Jamie Benn, of course, is an even keel guy as well until something needs to be done. So I think that's more of a captain role in my opinion. So.
I still love the last game when he when Hawk and Paul was kind of getting into a kerfuffle or whatever, and Jamie Benn's not even in the picture at all, not even in camera view, and then
and he dies and he falls.
And he was even asked about it, and he was just like, he just was getting excited. Those were his words. He was getting excited. He wasn't mad.
What a madman.
Okay. What else have we got? Let's see. This one is actually like a long explanation, but it's good. It's a good explanation, and then maybe we can answer this question. So I'm just gonna read it to y'all, and y'all can comment on this. So, and it's mostly about Jim Nill. All right. So Jim Nill gets a lot of praise for the guys he has drafted recently, and for good reason. However, does he get does he get a bit in his own way and slow the promotion of the young guys to the NHL when he continuously
Yes.
signs guys like Raffle, Glendening, Hansel, Como, etc.?
Yes.
Instead of getting the coach to start easing those AHL young players into the full-time NHL role versus the current way, which is 1 or 2 games here and there, and you have to play lights out to gain the coach's trust. I mean,
Yes.
Robertson, the perfect example, hence the perfect example. Might be something that's 50-50 between nil and bones, but drafting a lot of talent is great when they actually get a fair chance.
And we talked about this before the season too. We talked about I said I liked Glendening, but I didn't want those guys because I would rather have young guys there who can actually produce offensively. And we both talked about that. We both agreed on that. And I think they're exactly right. It's definitely a combination of both of them. Nil doesn't like bringing up young guys before they're ready, and Bones doesn't like playing them.
He doesn't. I don't even think it's a matter that they don't like him. They just don't trust them.
Yeah, well, that's
what
it
is.
is.
It's not that they don't like him, because obviously, if you get the coach's trust, you're gonna be in the lineup. I mean, Robertson and Hintz are perfect examples of that. Both of those guys have played lights out. Hintz, he came up, he was great, and he fizzled out for a while, and then they threw him back to the AHL for a month or so. He came back, and he's never been back to the AHL since. And the same thing with Robertson. Robertson at the beginning of last season, or was it last? Yeah, it was last season. Last season. I mean, he wasn't even on the roster. He was on the little taxi squad thing, whatever that they had last season. And then he comes up, finds some chemistry with our best player, and is able to stay in the lineup consistently.
And that's all of our young guys. I mean, Guryanov had to be the leading goal scorer to solidify his spot on the team. Roope Hintz had to...
And yet he still gets healthy scratched.
Roope Hintz had to score goals and put up points and be a great all-around center to stay on the team. Robertson had to be a Calder nominee to stay on the team. Heiskanen was a 3rd overall pick. He better be on the team. So you're exactly right. We don't have depth players that are young guys. All of our depth players we trade for.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. We should have a 4th line of young guys who are dangerous and can score and will learn. Especially, we aren't rebuilding, but if
we're getting close,
if we lose Klingberg and Pavelski next year, that's what it's gonna be.
I can see it, and Dad and I were talking about this when we were out Christmas shopping, like every other older male in the world, because we don't Christmas shop until the day before. But we were talking about that because this is the perfect time to sell Klingberg.
Yep,
because
if he's going to leave, it's going to be at the end of the year.
I don't think
he'll leave if he signs
I think at this point,
I still think
he won't leave.
I think at this point with Klingberg, I think he's just like, I don't want to pay attention to it right now. Let's just talk about it at the end of the season. If he gets a Klingberg, if he gets a contract right from the Stars. I don't think they agree on how much he should make right now, but
like what we were saying, it's going to come down to, well, it was going to come down to this month. Because this was all the Central Division teams. It was like 10 in a row against Central Division teams.
And now it's only been, 3?
Yeah. We're still going to have a lot, though, in these next 2 weeks.
Over the next 2 weeks, yeah.
And it's still going to be really important. But anyway, if we get to the trade deadline and we are for sure out, I think it's very likely Klingberg is gone. And he's going to get traded. If we are on the bubble, he might stay. And I think it's likely we ride out his contract and just get nothing. So... That's what it's going to come down to.
And I mean, Harley is supposed to take that spot, but is Harley ready for that kind of thing?
I think Harley's ready.
He's good enough to be in the NHL, but if you lose someone like Klingberg, you're losing a lot of offense,
a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know
it's a huge hole that Harley doesn't fill on his own. He can play in the NHL, but he's not going to be a John Klingberg.
Yeah, well, at least not yet. I agree with you. I mean, Klingberg kind of exploded on the scene. Harley hasn't really done that. He just kind of sort of eased his way in, and he is a first round pick. Unlike Klingberg, Klingberg was a 5th, so Klingberg kind of had to fight his way up into the NHL. But I don't know. Maybe he'll be ready. And then, I mean, it's just a matter of.
Well, and that was my next point too. Is if Klingberg's gone, then we're in rebuild. So if we don't re-sign Klingberg, if we don't re-sign Pavelski, if we don't re-sign Radulov,
right.
We are going.
I think Radulov is gone no matter what, anyways.
I think so too, but just that's what I'm thinking about contracts expiring. So if all 3 of those guys are gone and we don't sign replacements for them that are like up to caliber for them,
I hope we don't.
if
Let
we
the
lose
young
all
guys
three,
play. I
if-
mean,
if we lose
we
all
just talked
three,
about
I hope we
this.
don't.
Let the young guys play.
We have some young guys that have looked a little promising with very
And-
little time that
and
they've had.
lots in other leagues that are playing great.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Sanders on our Facebook group, he's been talking. We have like 6 guys in their junior leagues that are point per game or higher.
And like that's where we got Peterson from too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, he came straight from juniors straight into camp and jumped on. So, yeah, I definitely think if those guys are gone, it's time to stop signing old people and depth players and let our young guys be depth players. And that could be fun to watch. Maybe that's what people watch whenever their team sucks, is they are excited by the new guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm on my phone here, but we just got a notification from the NHL. Apparently, and this
This
is
is breaking news.
breaking
Breaking
news
news.
live during the podcast. Yes. The NHL will not be returning on the 27th. So they will be returning the day after on the 28th. So that means that
One day is
Another-
going to stop the COVID.
Right,
We
exactly.
did it. We did it. We did it.
So-
we did it.
so the
We did
game
it.
against the Nashville Predators will not be held, and that will be postponed. I would assume
Into the Olympic break.
into the Olympic break, right? So the NHL season will be paused by another day, which sucks.
One day.
Why would they do
Really?
that?
I mean, I guess because they want to get another extra day of practice in.
If that's the
because they're going to return on the 26th
Yeah,
and then go to the 27th.
That might be true,
If-
but
if-
No, this
I
is
don't
straight
like
from
that.
NHL public relations. Public
read
relations.
It. Read the thing.
yeah,
Okay.
Read
All
the
right. Well,
thing.
here's the whole thing. The National Hockey League announced today that its regular season schedule will not resume prior to December 28th. The league had planned to resume its schedule on December 27th, but in order to allow the league an adequate opportunity to analyze league-wide testing results and to assess clubs' readiness to play, the target date for resumption of gameplay will be pushed back an additional day. Teams will return to practice on the 26th, and it is expected that the league will provide an update on its return to play plans by the end of the day on Sunday. So basically what that tells me is that they don't even know if they're going to start
that
the day
doesn't-
after.
That doesn't sound like practice. That sounds like we don't know if our team is going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's because they just told everybody just go home, and they're not doing testing, so they don't know who has COVID right now.
I guess that's true, man.
So I think that's what it is. They're like, okay, we can't figure everything out in a day. So
Well, and this is interesting now that we're talking about COVID and that announcement. A lot of teams have dealt with COVID issues and everything, but one thing we haven't talked about is that the fact that the Stars have had one player all season be on COVID protocol, and that's Yanni
that was a false
Hakanpää.
positive.
Well, now it's Yanni Hakanpää is back on the COVID protocol list
Oh,
again
he is.
for the second time. Yes,
Well, I got
So,
to assume that's
not-
a false positive
not-
too.
because it was the first time, right? So, anyways, so the Stars haven't really been affected by COVID this year, despite the fact that last season they couldn't even start the season without COVID.
They all got COVID. They all got
Yeah.
COVID and have the vaccine now, which, according to stuff I read, I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. Is like the best immunity. I don't know.
For symptoms, at least, that's true.
So,
And that's one thing that I think we need to start talking. The NFL thing, where they don't test players who aren't symptomatic and are vaccinated.
that would be nice if
That
if the
has to start
NHL did that.
happening. Because, like, again, other stuff I've read, I'm not a doctor. You can't transmit it unless you have symptoms. I don't know if that's true, because all in the beginning of the pandemic, we heard, you can be transferred asymptomatically, but
Well,
nobody knows what's going on.
yeah, nobody
Don't go out
does.
and kiss random people.
Don't kiss
Yeah,
people.
don't do that. Yeah, no kissing girlfriends.
Kiss you around one.
The
I'll kiss you right now.
You would like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would too, actually.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, we got one more question. All right. And that question is, what would the Stars have looked like if we had not traded Jerome McGinley to the Calgary Flames in return for Joe Nieuwendyk in 1995?
I think we would not have won the cup,
Really?
probably, because Nieuwendyk was like, he was top 5 pretty much every season he was on the Stars, at least in points. I think during the cup run he was top 3.
He was literally the Stars' best forward in the playoffs in '99.
Yeah, so
And I know.
we'd be better right now because we'd have Jerome McGinley, and that'd be sweet. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's retired now, but we would have been good for longer with him, and he is in the Hall of Fame and everything like that. But he never won a Stanley Cup.
nope, he didn't.
It sucks for him.
So there you go.
And you know,
There it is.
and a lot of
Stanley
people
Cup, no
for
Stanley Cup.
a lot of people forget the fact that the Stars were the ones that actually drafted Jerome McGinley. I don't even think they got him at first. I think they got him at like 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that. The lower single digit, the higher single
that
digits.
seems to
I
be
guess.
where our best drafting is anyway. So.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. All right. Well, anyways, y'all want to get into the Who Cares segment?
James, what is our?
I'm gonna introduce it, but I will have no part in this because I think this is the dumbest.
No,
thing
you
ever.
have to do it. You
I'm
have
not-
to
At
do
least have a
You
top
have no
one.
choice.
I
At least have
don't
a
even have
favorite.
one.
it. Google it
Yeah,
right now.
Google and go look
James,
up some.
introduce it. Google corn chips right now. Whoops.
You just ruined it.
James, go.
So the Who Cares segment is your favorite type of corn chip.
So
And
stupid.
our categories is it can be seasoned, but it can't be flavored. So Ritos, that's flavored. These are nacho cheese flavored, but there are other seasoned kind. They got the lime ones. They got the taco seasoning ones. Which technically they're seasoned, not flavored.
That's so stupid.
So
It's true.
That's
James,
so stupid.
you want to do yours
So-
first?
So I really only have two.
Okay,
right?
okay. Then I'll do mine first because I got all three.
Okay, so let me look for another one then.
Gotta pull my notes up here. Okay, number 3, best corn chips. HEB brand Texas shaped corn chips.
Really? HEB.
Wait,
They're shaped like Texas.
that's awesome.
They got a Panhandle. They got El Paso. They got Brownsville. They got Texarkana. All of it. All of them look like Texas.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
awesome.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Oh
If you're
my
having a
goodness.
Texas Independence Day party, like you're rocking it with that, and then you get some salsa in the middle, that is fire. And don't you dare crap on HEB brand stuff. HEB brand stuff schmacks. It's very good. There are some stuff that is better, so it's only number 3, but those are great, and they're shaped like Texas. Can't ask for more. Somebody else, number 3.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of just do like a basic one.
Okay,
for
do
my
basic
number
one.
3.
Do it.
So my number 3 is the Santitas.
Santitas.
The basic white ones, because those are the ones that we would get just growing
oh
up.
goodness, guys.
Like that's what we would have laying around the house.
Yep.
So nostalgia factor.
Ryan, number 3.
Can I say great value?
Yes.
Yes.
Terrible
that is
choice.
allowed.
That is the worst. That is the worst
For-
pick I've ever heard in my life.
For our UK friends.
What shape are they?
Triangular.
Okay, at least they're trying. Because I want to make this point. The rounds are terrible.
Oh no, you're gonna hate me.
The round potato chips.
I was about to
The
pick
round
those.
corn chips
Nice.
are the worst. How do you dip that? You get like a massive.
That's
thing.
why it's called a scoop.
No,
No,
I'm not
not
talking about the
the-
scoops.
Come
the
on,
round
Ryan.
ones.
You're not you don't even know your corn chips.
You don't even know your shapes, bro.
Hey, this wasn't my
A scoop
choice. This
is a
is y'all's
scoop. A round
choice,
is
okay?
a round.
This is
They're
y'all's
ridiculous.
choice.
Like if you get the big rounds, they don't even fit in the jar of Pace.
Oh no, the big
And then
ones
if
is
you get
too-
the
You have to, like-
bite-sized
you have to,
ones,
like,
yeah,
you
you
have
break
to
it. That's
break it
not a
in
round.
half, yeah.
That's a triangle. You made a triangle.
No,
Congrats.
it's a
Just buy the
It's a
triangles.
semicircle.
No, if you bring in 4. And even worse than the big rounds is the bite-sized ones. Every time you dip the bite-sized one, okay, first of all, they're too small.
You're really gonna hate me.
That is a teeny tiny. I know you're gonna pick the Tostitos bite-sized rounds. They're the worst. You dip them in, and normally I have to go with 3 because that's a full bite. Like I'm not a child. I don't eat tiny little morsels.
I do.
But you go in with 3, and your fingers get all the salsa on them because they're too small.
But maybe you're just messy.
No,
You're just
I'm
a messy
practical
eater.
person.
You're just
They're
a
too
messy.
small. Before,
Your hands
is
are
it
like
your
the
number
same
2 or is it your
size.
number 1?
You're really gonna hate me.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you're number 2.
What's your you
No,
go?
what was your number?
It's fine. My number 2 is on the border. Cantina Thin and Crispy. They are great. They're thin. They are crispy. You can snap them with your tongue onto the roof of your mouth. They are great.
That's random.
And you got to make sure you have a good salsa. So if you're getting these are for gourmet salsas. So you can't use Pace on these because if you try and scoop a whole
Great
chunk
value?
of onion, no great value. Pace and great value are basically the same. If you try and scoop a whole chunk of onion with the thin and crispy, it's gone. The chip is broken.
That's true.
But if you get a nice smooth one, Mateo's gourmet salsa, highest quality, lots of garlic, lots of yams, very smooth.
That's
It's
true, I do
amazing.
like-
We have another Who's Cares segment
It
going.
is.
Yeah.
so,
It is-
I actually thought
maybe
about that.
just-
It is great. Mateo's with thin and crispy.
All right, number
tortilla.
2.
Okay, my number 2 are
James.
Tostino's, the scoop ones because they're cool. I don't really have a reason. They're kind of cool. They break really easy, so you don't eat them with like guac or like.
I'll accept the
Cold
scoops because of
cheese.
7-layer dip, and that is
Yes.
it.
Okay. All right. My number 2. Can I actually say one that I hate?
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
Fritos.
I've done
Yeah,
that
he's
so
already
many
done that.
times.
So
I hate Fritos. I can't stand Fritos.
They're not great.
The,
I mean,
the
they're
only
good with
time
bean
the-
dip.
like
Good,
okay,
great with
okay,
bean.
but
That's
no,
it.
see, no, that's
Spicy
the point.
bean
No,
dip?
no, that's the point. Like with Frito chips, they only go good when there's something else with them.
That's
So like a Frito pie.
Frito
That's
pie is great.
Yeah.
that's
I
great.
love Frito.
That's great. I love Frito pie.
I love Frito pie, bro. It's so good. I want Frito pie now.
But
We
like
did to 'em.
it just like eating it straight out of the bag, like those Doritos. If it was like a bag of Fritos,
Yeah, it's really hard to do.
I would rather not eat the Fritos
Yeah.
than eat something. I mean,
And
I
if
just
you do it
wouldn't eat
without
anything.
water, I think you die.
Oh yeah, you really do.
Yeah,
Like a bag this size
done
of
that
just
just to
original
torture myself
Fritos
before.
with no water. You're dead
yeah, that's
in
true.
an hour.
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
I'll give it an hour 45. All right. And I guess my number 2 is actually the on the border triangle chips. I don't like the
Thin and
rounds.
crispy.
I don't even know what they're called. It just
There's
just
multiple
their
on the
original.
border chips.
Okay.
They have a
Ryan.
cafe
Just their
style,
original.
They have.
I have no. I told you this was y'all's idea. I don't
You
know.
should. We should. I mean, we told you
You
about it
needed.
before.
We did tell you about it before the
You should have
episode.
5
researched.
minutes.
You didn't tell us about the presents.
I was
thing.
doing.
You
Okay,
had
that's
time
true.
to
any
research.
Okay, that's
You
true.
had time to
Okay,
Okay,
research.
guilty
and
as
you didn't even
charged.
do it.
Guilty as charged. I'll give
Bad
you that.
podcast host dislike this for laziness.
Because I didn't look up the corn chips.
Yes.
And it's not the fact that I looked
This
at
was
that
a
I got all the
pre-
mailbag.
This was a
questions
pre-planned
for y'all.
segment, and you didn't do your research on corn chips.
No, I don't care about corn chips. I told y'all that before we even started this. Okay, number
He
1.
doesn't even care about corn chips.
It's not your turn. Number 1.
That's what I said. Number 1, you go.
My number 1 corn chip is James's number 3. Santita's white bag
Let's go.
corn chips. They are so good. They're the perfect combination. So the thin and crispy, too thin. Can't eat the pase with them. The white corn, they are still thin. They're rather crispy. They're a little more crunchy than crispy. But you dip them in pase, they
So
fully pick up
analytical.
everything. They're triangles, perfect shape. You can fit a hole in your mouth if you're really going at it. It's wonderful. They're the best. They're better than the yellow. The yellow is a little too,
It's
I don't know.
crunchy.
They're
crunchy.
They're crunchier. They're not as crispy.
They're not as
And
much
I
salt
think-
either.
Yeah, they don't have as much salt. I think they're like a little sweeter. I don't think I like that as much. I don't think I like that in my corn
It's weird
chip.
that we can describe that.
It's important.
Like we just
That's
have
why
that
we
ingrained
told him to
into our
research.
heads.
We told him to research and he didn't do it.
Okay, my number 1 is Christian's least favorite ever. It's the Tostino's bite-sized circle chips.
A terrible
Because-
choice.
Because
You have Tostitos as 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
well, number 2 is more like just because it's a scoop. I mean,
that's
come on.
ridiculous.
But
So you could have so any kind of scoop chip would be fine.
yeah,
At number
technically, I mean, they help a lot. You can get a lot more dip.
Are you gonna yell at him now too?
I already
He
yelled
already
about
yelled at
it.
me.
Ah, I guess it's
and,
fine.
I was making fun of him the whole time.
It's
too.
insubordinate and deplorable.
Okay, Ryan, what's your number 1?
Your number 1 is my number 1.
Let's go.
So
Comes full circle.
I'll give you that. I love those.
No, James.
And I don't even know what it is about those chips. I mean, I could eat those
I
without.
just described it.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
what do you mean you
the,
don't
the
know?
thing is,
You
I
don't
can
even have to
eat
say
them.
anything anymore.
I can
We
eat
just
them
end
with.
right now.
I can eat them with salsa. I can eat them
I can eat
without
them without
salsa.
Yeah.
Easy.
I don't know what it is about the like when I eat it with guacamole, that's when it tastes the best. Is that weird?
I ate with I
don't know.
Pese,
That was
obviously.
the-
We talked about
I ate
Pese.
it with guacamole, with cheese, with salsa, whatever. You
I'll
know,
melt-
bean dip. You
I'll
know,
melt
everything.
sprinkle cheese on
The,
it.
the only
Everything.
thing, the
They're
o-
the all
well,
around. That's why it's number
no,
1. They're the
the only
they're
thing
all around.
that it just tastes a
wrong.
little weird on is when you just do like make it nachos. I
You're
don't know.
wrong.
You're right.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're
I
great
just
on nachos.
they just taste weird with
Velveeta
and maybe it
with
was just
Roselle.
Yeah.
Schmecks.
Perfect.
Velveeta. That's not even real cheese.
That is queso. That is Texas queso, bro. How are you laughing about that?
That's not even
Dislike
real
for him not
cheese.
liking Texas queso.
Okay. All right.
This
Well,
segment was deplorable.
Yeah, that was
Only
that
because
was-
of him.
Only because of you. No, you picked some.
You didn't win.
Yeah, but he
You
didn't even
picked
pick
this.
anything.
Yeah, you didn't really pick
You
it.
picked this segment.
Yeah, you didn't even
You said
pick
corn
anything.
chip. I wanted to do
You didn't
something
do your
else,
research.
and you were
Yeah.
just like, "No, we're doing corn chips."
We did
Because-
trees.
because I'm
we
right.
Did trees, right?
Yeah?
We couldn't do corn chips when we did trees.
I guess that's true.
Come on.
Oh goodness.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, guys. We have to go to our mom's party now. It starts here in about 30
Why are you
minutes. So
sad about that? We
Yeah.
did cheese and
Dude,
cured meat.
cheese
yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah,
Cheese
and,
and
you know,
cured
maybe
meat
we-
time, boys.
I'll take some pictures and we'll put it up on the podcast Twitter and stuff like that,
Go
so y'all
get
can
some
see.
charcuterie.
So, anyways, guys,
I
thank
don't
you
think so.
guys for tuning in to Starcastic
so.
Remarks Studios
Comment how to
for
pronounce
our Merry
charcuterie.
Christmas episode tonight. That's Chris. This is James. I'm Ryan.
That's the Yule log.
That's the Yule log, and it's still showing
It's
up.
still burning.
Well, actually, you can see it a little bit better on screen now. You can kind of see it a little bit better.
Oh, Tannenbaum.
Anyways, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but thank you again to our sponsor, DraftKings, who sponsors not just this show, but also the entire Hockey Podcast Network. Thank you guys for going and using their app when you can. Use that promo code THPN the next time you go and use their app, and
Thanks
that
for
lets
the questions.
Yeah, thank you for the questions, by the way, too, because
Great.
that made this go by and allowed us to have a lot of fun with
A
this as
long
well. So,
podcast.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
crazy.
it was just about an hour.
I hope you
So-
don't have a long drive home.
Yeah,
Stay
exactly.
safe.
So, anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you'll have a Merry Christmas, and we'll be back with you guys. I guess if it's not
Later,
Monday,
Yeah, whenever I see you.
yeah, whenever the next game is, whenever that is.
We'll see you when
and-
you see you.
Yeah.
What did hockey do?
Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.